we have done the initial first part of starting the business, where we have discussed till the business plan. So once you are ready with your business plan, the next step is that you have to form a business as a registered entity. There are many options. You can start it as a proprietor also, but all entities have different types of benefits. So as a founder, what you need to focus upon is that the purpose for which you have formed this business, and the bigger you want to make it, accordingly you have to choose the entity type. So now we will be discussing about the legal structure and compliance things related to a business. And in this, I have kept three options here, but there are even more options for you. You have an option of a partnership firm, which is a registered or unregistered partnership. That is not covered here, but you will get all details about different types of entities, the compliances, and what all things you need to do after incorporation of any type of these businesses. After this video, you'll get details. Okay, you'll get at least 5 to 6 videos on this also, short videos but very much relevant for you, and you must watch it. Okay, so here I'm just debriefing you. Like, the right business entity type can be a sole proprietorship for you. If you are starting as a solopreneur and you don't want to scale your operations as such, you want to be a self-employed or a freelancer kind of a business. But if you want to make it bigger, then generally you should go for private limited company, or if you want to even come up with the IPO, then you can form a public limited company, or you can convert your private limited to a public limited company. And as far as the limited liability partnership is concerned, this is generally preferred by the professional kind of firms, real estate firms or brokerage firms, I will say. So depending upon the nature of business, whether you want to keep it bootstrap, whether you want to, you have to choose the entity type. If you want to go for funding, you want to scale the operations, definitely private limited company is the best option in that case. Okay, so while registering as a business, you have to make sure that you choose the right company name, and it should not infringe or copy the company name or a trademark or IP of any other company. And you should do all your compliances, like after registration, once you open the current account, you should do the transactions, and for all those transactions you deduct proper TDS, deposit that, file the GST for whatever GST you have collected on your sales. Okay, get the returns filed. For this, you can definitely look for support from a chartered accountant, and we at Legal so will definitely help and support in this. So you can reach out to us as well, or you can reach out to any chartered accountant for tax compliances. Similar to this, there are certain labor law compliances, like you have to do a professional tax registration. So there are 21 states which require a professional tax registration. Similar to this, if you have employees beyond 20, you may require to do the PF ESI filings as well. Okay, even nowadays, if employees are zero, okay, still people are getting notices for the PF ESI compliance, because Ministry of Corporate Affairs issues the PF ESI number at the time of incorporation itself. So a nil PF filing has to be done mandatorily in that case. Okay, detail of that we have discussed again in the upcoming videos, so you can look at that. Okay, so now comes the industry specific regulation. So here what happens is, like, if you are forming a pharma company, then a drug license is required. If a food company, then FSSI is required. If you are doing export imports, then you need the importer exporter code, IEC code. Okay, so that's how the legalities have to be looked into and to be followed by you. Again, for all these things, if you have any problems, you want any CACS support, so legalsubida.com, go, you can reach out. Okay, then comes the IPR. Again, if you have a name, brand name, and you want to protect it, the brand name along with the logo or even a normal name, you should get it trademarked. And for that, you have to get the registration done with the IPR, which is intellectual property rights. And then comes two more registrations apart from the trademark, which is copyright and patents. Generally people can't differentiate between both, they mix up. But after these next 1 minute, you will be able to easily identify what is trademark, patent, copyright. Listen to me carefully now. So what is patent? Is something where you have a innovative product, process, or a technology. Okay, and you want to protect your process, technology from being getting copied by your competitor. For that, you file a patent application. Okay, maybe you have a design, or you have designed a machine in such a way that is unique, so that your competitor should not copy. So you will get it done as a patent. While trademark is different. Trademark is a name, brand name. Okay, that brand name along with the logo or without a logo, you are protecting through a trademark. As far as copyright is concerned, copyright is again something which is a nature of artwork or a creative work that you have done as a founder. Okay, now it can be a software code, it can be a design, it can be any content like your website content or a book that you have written. So for all these things, copyright has to be done. Okay, so this is the difference between these three. Trademark for names with or without logo. Okay, and patent is for the innovative products, processes, technologies, and copyright is for the original creative works that you do as a founder. Okay, so all these IPRs, now you have two options. You can protect your IPR as an individual and you can give it to company to use it, or you can get this IPR done in the name of company itself. Okay, so it depends on case to case, and accordingly you can decide that IPR has to be done in individual name or a company name. Okay, process is almost similar, but scenario wise it differs. Okay, then comes compliance with the industry regulations. So, and I just mentioned earlier, if you do registrations, okay, once you have done the registration, after that what happens? You have to do sector specific compliance. Suppose you have taken a drug license, you have taken a FSSI license or a IEC code. So in these cases, sometimes there is a requirement to update it, to file some return related to it. You have taken a GST registration, you have to file a GST return for it. Okay, you have taken a PFESI number, you have to do a PF filing for it. Okay, so sector specific requirements are also there, like compliance. So you have to familiarize yourself that under which sector you are working. Accordingly, you have to see the related compliances, and the same need to be done. Similarly, environmental regulations also need to be pollution control boards. Okay, so this is something like you are doing refurbishing, or you are doing something like e-waste collection or something, है ना? So for that you need proper license from pollution control board. It can be a state pollution control board or a central pollution control board. Similarly, you need to make sure that you implement robust measure to protect the customer data. For that, you have to implement ISO 27001. Now, what is ISO 27001? It is for the data privacy. Okay. Similarly, you can go for ISO 9001, ISO 14001, ISO 45001. So all these ISOs are there. 9001 is for quality management system, 14001 is for environmental, and 45,001 is for employees. These relevant data privacy security policies, you have to implement the ISO standards. And occupational safety, again I have told you that employees well-being, for this there are ISOs, as I mentioned. 45,001 is there for this, and 14,001 is there for the environmental protection. Okay, so you have to make sure that you are adhering to all these standards. Then comes the legal documentation part. Again, you need to ensure that the incorporation documents are maintained properly, like the MOA, AOA, initial founder agreement. So all these sorry, so all these incorporation documents, your initial agreements, and the financial records of the company need to be in track, because these will be looked into by various authorities, regulatory authorities, as well as the investors while doing the due diligence if you are going for funding. Similarly, you have to maintain proper employee records, and that has to be maintained, like the employee location, okay, their address proof, ID proofs, their salary details. All these things you need to maintain in order to do labor law compliance. Also, when employees leaving the organization, you should have all the records with you. Okay, all the NDAs signed by them, all the agreements done with the employees. Okay, their appraisals, etc. All records have to be maintained. Then comes the contract and agreement. So contract can be a vendor agreement or a customer agreement, or an employee agreement or a shareholder agreement. So you have to review all the contracts. So this is the most important thing for you as a founder. Whatever contract or agreement a company is entering into, okay, that contract agreement should not be done without your prior knowledge. You should always have a look at any agreement or contract, review it carefully, and negotiate for the favorable terms, okay, that protect your company's interest. And always execute any contract, okay, properly. Okay, on a, like, on a affidavit, on a registered affidavit, notarized document should be there. Okay, so please ensure this, because if you are not following this, then definitely it will going to be a challenge in long run. Okay, then comes the tax and financial obligations. I've already discussed this, but I'll again repeat that income tax has to be properly calculated and timely paid, and returns have to be filed timely for income tax. Similarly, for GST, you have to collect the GST on your sales and remit it as per the due dates along with the return filing. Similarly, TDS, whatever you have deducting, you have to deposit it by 7th of next month, and it has to be properly. Quarterly filings have to be done for this also. And similarly, for accounting and auditing, you need to maintain proper financial records. Again, the details of all these things will be there in the next 5 6 videos that you are going to see on the compliance. Now comes the legal risk and liabilities. So the liability claims, you have to protect your company from the lawsuits, from the liability claims through appropriate insurance coverage. Then generally, indemnity insurances are there for the protection of the business. Like if the business does any mistake, or operation team does any mistake which causes some loss to your client, so you always should have a indemnity, that this will be a relevant thing brand also, as well as you cannot copy other person's brand. So you have to safeguard your innovative ideas and creation from being copied or misused. Similarly, you should also not do the same with other brand, because that can also create a problem for you. As far as the contractual disputes is concerned, okay, so it is like carefully drafting and managing of all commercial agreements to minimize the risk of legal conflict. So it means that if you have looked into the agreements when they are created, and you have negotiated properly, you have executed them properly, chances of contractual disputes will be lesser. Because I told you earlier also, as a CEO, as a founder, you should always make sure that all contracts are done properly, drafted properly, and terms should be in the favor of company as much as possible. Okay, so if that is the case, then definitely there are very less chances of the contractual disputes, unless other party is like they are not adhering to it. Okay, but you should make sure that you are doing things in the proper way. So this is a small brief about the legal and compliance part. This is really important part. But so in the first section, till the business plan, okay, we have discussed about the entire ecosystem, your purpose. Okay, we have discussed about the product launch through MVP approach, the model that you, the part that we are discussing is the incorporation part, regulatory compliance part, and the legal part. Okay, so this was the first video in this. From now onwards, whatever things we will get into, those will be practically related to the starting of the business and execution of things on the practical basis. So now if you have any doubts, questions, queries related to this, you can definitely reach out to me. And don't forget to watch these 5 6 videos that will be there just after this video, because these will give you a good understanding about the legal regulatory compliances of different types of entities, and it will be easier for you to identify that which type of company or LLP you have to form. Okay, like partnership firm or a company or sole proprietorship. So all types of entities I have discussed in detail. It will be really useful. Thanks for watching, and we will meet in the next section. Thank you.